"Ma'am, there's a line behind you. If you're going to count coins, you should have had them ready." Coins scattered across the checkout counter. Grandma Bunge's hands trembled as she tried to gather them, but 101 coins slipped through her fingers and clattered to the floor. "Oh, I'm so sorry." As she bent to pick it up, someone behind her let out an audible sigh. The cashier glanced at her wristwatch, then looked back at the old woman. "Ma'am, seriously, I need to clock out soon." The color drained from Grandma Bunge's fingertips. Her grip tightened on her wallet. Heat rushed to her face, but the words wouldn't come. Then, from somewhere behind her, a low, steady voice cut through. "That's enough. This woman is." Everyone turned to look. A middle-aged man in a black coat stood there. His salt and pepper hair was neatly combed back, and on his wrist, a substantial watch caught the light. From his inner coat pocket, a leather card holder peeked out, bearing a logo that looked awfully familiar. It was the same logo as the mart. The cashier's expression froze. "Wishing you good health and happiness today as well. Before the story begins, please consider subscribing, liking, and turning on notifications. Your support means a lot. If you leave a greeting in the comments, I sincerely hope every good fortune finds its way to you." That morning, Grandma Bunge woke earlier than usual. The sky beyond her window was still dark, and the room held that particular stillness of pre-dawn hours. She checked the clock. 5:30. Sleep had become scarce in her 70s. She used to drift off until 7 without any trouble, but these days, her eyes opened on their own before sunrise, and no amount of lying still would bring sleep back. So she'd learned to just get up. She lay there for a moment, staring at the ceiling. There was a small stain in one corner, a watermark from when the upstairs unit had leaked last summer. The building manager had offered to fix it, but she'd never bothered to follow up. It wasn't hurting anything. A cold draft crept through the gap in the window frame. Winter had arrived again. Lately, the seasons seemed to change faster than she could keep track. Spring barely settled in before summer took over, and autumn always felt like it was running late to make room for winter. Time moved in ways she couldn't quite follow anymore. When she was young, a single day had felt endless. Now, a whole year passed like a month. She sat up slowly. Her lower back had stiffened overnight, and when she straightened it, her spine made a small cracking sound. The doctor had told her to stretch every morning, pull her knees to her chest while lying down, rotate her hips gently. Just 5 minutes would make a difference. She knew she should, but every day, she forgot. Or maybe she just didn't bother. The room was dim, so she turned on only the small lamp by her bed. Overhead lights were too harsh this early. The soft glow from the lamp was easier on her eyes and saved a bit on electricity too. Not that it made much of a difference, but after so many years of living alone, the habit of saving had become second nature. She switched off lights in empty rooms, rarely turned on the TV, and always closed the refrigerator quickly. In the kitchen, the floor was cold through her slippers. The soles had worn thin over the past year, letting the chill seep through. She needed new ones, but these still worked fine, so she kept putting it off. New slippers cost maybe 5,001 at the market. But somehow that 5,001 felt like too much to spend on herself. She turned on the faucet. The water came out cold at first. It always took a while to warm up, so she blew on her hands while she waited. She looked down at the backs of her hands. More age spots than before. Her knuckles had grown knobbier, her nails thicker. When had she gotten so old? The face in the mirror startled her sometimes. In her mind, she was still in her 40s. But her reflection told a different story. She filled the kettle and set it on the gas stove. The click of the ignition, the blue flame curling around the bottom of the pot, she liked that sound. It meant the day was beginning. Every morning, her small ritual: 1 cup of warm water before anything else. Her doctor had recommended it years ago. But she'd been doing it long before that, just out of habit. When her husband was alive, mornings had been busy. She'd wash the rice, start the pot, make soup, prepare 3 or 4 side dishes, and set the table. He'd always insisted on a proper breakfast, said it gave him strength for the day. So every morning before dawn, she'd stand in this same kitchen and cook. It was tiring, but it was just what you did. He'd been gone 12 years now. Stomach cancer. By the time they found it, it was already stage 3. He lasted 3 months. After that, she stopped cooking rice. When you cook for one, there's always too much. Leftovers go in the fridge, turn hard. And then you either choke them down or throw them away feeling guilty. So now she made nurungji instead, just scorched rice in water. Simple, easy on the stomach. While the nurungji simmered, she went to the small desk in the corner of the living room and opened the drawer. Inside was her wallet. Brown leather, worn soft at the edges, the snap loose from decades of use. Her son had given it to her before he left for the military. That was over 30 years ago. He'd bought it with his first paycheck, so proud of himself. He was 23 then. Now he was 54, living in Seoul with a wife and 2 kids. A grandson in middle school, a granddaughter in elementary. He visited once a year for the holidays and called about once a week. The calls were always the same. "Mom, everything okay?" She'd say yes. "Eating well?" "Yes." "Any aches or pains?" "No." The truth was her knees hurt, her back ached, and her shoulder was always stiff, but she never mentioned it. What good would it do? He had enough to worry about. Work, the kids' tutoring fees, the mortgage. Even at 50-something, life didn't let up. She opened the wallet. In the bill compartment 2 10,001 notes. 4 1,001 notes. She unzipped the coin pouch. A jumble of silver and bronze 501 and 101 coins mixed together. She poured them onto the desk and began counting. 1,601 coins. 1,601. 4,501 coins. 2,001. Add the bills, 27,601 total. She stared at the small pile for a moment. Today, she was going to the mart. Tofu, eggs, green onions. The doenjang was almost out too, but she decided to skip it this time. She still hadn't paid this month's senior center dues, 3,001, and the gas bill had come in just over 20,001. Her basic pension came to about 320,001 a month. With her late husband's survivor benefits added, it came to around 500,000. After rent, utilities, gas, and phone, there wasn't much left. Her son sent spending money sometimes, but every time she accepted it, something in her chest tightened. She knew he wasn't exactly comfortable either. Last month, he'd sent 50,001. She hadn't touched it. It was still tucked away in the back of the drawer, just in case he ever needed it back. She put the coins back into the wallet. They clinked against each other, a small rattling sound. She always felt something complicated when she heard it. Proof that she had money. Proof that it wasn't much. From the kitchen, she heard the nurungji bubbling. She turned off the stove, lifted the lid, and steam rose up, carrying that familiar nutty, toasted smell. She poured it into a bowl, set it on the table, and sat down. Just the nurungji and a few pieces of kakdugi she'd made last week. Radish kimchi was easier than the cabbage. Just cube the radish, toss it with seasoning, and let it sit. She blew on the hot soup and took a sip. Quiet, nothing but the ticking of the clock. She used to keep the TV on during meals, just for the noise. But lately, she didn't bother. Flipping through channels never turned up anything worth watching. The news was all doom and gloom. The dramas were impossible to follow, and variety shows were just loud. So she ate in silence. After a while, silence became normal too. After the meal, she washed the dishes. 1 bowl, 1 spoon, 1 pair of chopsticks. A quick rinse and it was done. She remembered when the sink used to be full, her husband's dishes, her son's dishes, sometimes her mother-in-law's too. She'd scrub until her arms ached. Now it took less than a minute. Easier, sure, but also emptier. She went to the bedroom to get dressed. Opening the wardrobe, she didn't have much to choose from. She pulled out a gray padded jacket, 15,001 at the market 3 years ago. The lining was thin, not much good in deep winter, but it was fine for now. She had a puffer coat too, but it was bulky and hard to move in. She put on black cotton pants and wrapped a brown knit scarf around her neck. The scarf was a birthday gift from her daughter-in-law last year, sent by delivery. A card had come with it, "Stay healthy, mother." Short and simple, but she'd appreciated it. Her daughter-in-law was busy too. At the front door, she put on her shoes. Black sneakers with Velcro straps, no laces. Her fingers weren't what they used to be, and tying knots had become a chore. Same with buttons and zippers. Aging was like that, a slow accumulation of small frustrations. She slipped the wallet into her inner pocket, patted it once to make sure, and grabbed her phone. An old flip phone. Her son had offered to buy her a smartphone, but she'd declined. Phone calls were enough. She didn't need the internet or KakaoTalk. Didn't want to learn, either. The hallway outside her apartment was cold. The building was over 30 years old, and there was no heating in the corridors. In winter, the hallway felt as cold as the outdoors. She pressed the elevator button and waited, looking out the corridor window. The sky was heavy with gray clouds. Looked like it might snow. She took the elevator down to the first floor and walked through the lobby. The security guard saw her from his booth and waved. "Where are you headed in this cold, ma'am?" "The mart. Need a few things for dinner." "Bundle up out there. The wind's really blowing today." "Thanks." She nodded and stepped outside. The wind hit her immediately, cold against her cheeks. She pulled her scarf up over her chin and started walking. The sky hung low, and the air had that sharp, biting edge of early winter. It had fully arrived. She walked slowly toward the bus stop. It used to take 3 minutes. Now it took more than 5. Her knees ached when she tried to move faster. She'd tried pills, patches, heating pads, nothing really helped. The doctor said her cartilage had worn down. "It happens to everyone," he'd told her. A few people were already waiting at the stop. The younger ones stared at their phones. An older man around her age sat on the bench. She sat down beside him. The metal seat was freezing against her. The bus arrived. She stood slowly and climbed aboard, tapping her transit card. The beep sounded, and the screen read, "Free. Senior fare." Even after all these years, she still felt a twinge of guilt riding for free. She used to pay her fare like everyone else. Now she was always on the receiving end. She took a seat by the window and looked outside. Dead leaves tumbled across the street, and the trees were bare. Just a few days ago, the ginkgo trees had been golden. Now they were stripped clean. Winter was here. 3 stops passed quickly. She got off and walked toward the mart. A big building, bright lights spilling out. She used to shop at the traditional market. But most of the stalls had closed over the years. The mart was more convenient anyway. Everything was labeled with prices, no need to haggle, and it was warm inside. She reached the entrance. The automatic doors slid open, and a wave of warm air rushed over her. She paused for a moment, letting the warmth soak in. After the bitter cold outside, it felt like relief. She thought about grabbing a shopping cart, then decided against it. She was only getting a few things, no need to push a whole cart around. She picked up a hand basket and headed inside. The mart was bright. Fluorescent lights hung from every part of the ceiling, leaving no corner in shadow. Rows of shelves stood neatly stocked with colorful goods. Grandma Bunja carried her basket and wandered slowly toward the vegetable section. It was evening, so the store was fairly busy. Office workers in coats pushed carts through the aisles, some still wearing their work badges. A young mother passed by, her toddler balanced on one hip. Grandma Bunja moved through the crowd at her own pace. People flowed around her like water around a stone. She didn't mind. There was no reason to rush. At the vegetable section, she picked up a block of tofu. 1,500 for the stew variety. She remembered when it used to cost less than 1,000. Prices had climbed so much. Still, tofu was one of the cheapest and most useful ingredients she knew. Good in soup, good fried, good eaten cold with soy sauce. For someone living alone, tofu was a lifesaver. Next, the eggs. A pack of 10 cost 3,001. A pack of 30 was 7,000. Which was cheaper per egg, but she reached for the smaller one. She'd learned her lesson before. The last time she bought 30, she couldn't finish them before they went bad. She'd thrown away 7. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about those wasted eggs. After that, she only ever bought small packs. Green onions were 1,001 for one bunch. They looked fresh and bright. One bunch would last her a week, easy. She'd chop some into doenjang jjigae, maybe add a little to scrambled eggs. She placed the onions in her basket and thought about what to make for dinner. Tofu stew. There was some zucchini left in the fridge, she could toss that in too. 3 items in the basket now. Tofu, 1,500. Eggs, 3,000. Green onions, 1,000. Total 5,501. Under 10,000. She felt her shoulders relax a little. She passed by the instant ramen aisle and slowed. There was a sale, 5 packs for 4,001. She'd eaten her last pack a few days ago. On rainy days, nothing sounded better than ramen. She thought about it, then kept walking. Not today. She needed to save where she could. She'd get some next time, when there was a bit more room in the budget. In the snack aisle, something caught her eye: her grandchildren's favorite cookies. Last Chuseok, her grandson had pointed right at that box and said he wanted it. For a second, she considered buying a pack in case they visited. But when would that be? She didn't know, and if she bought snacks now, they'd just go stale. She kept walking, though her steps felt a little heavier. Her older grandson was in middle school now. He barely talked on the phone anymore. When her son called and passed the phone to him, all she got was a quick, "Hi, Grandma," before he handed it back. "Busy," he said. Her granddaughter was in 3rd grade and still said she missed her. But how long would that last? Kids grew up fast. Eventually, they'd stop thinking about their grandmother at all. She wandered through the store, glancing at things she wouldn't buy. Apples 3 for 5,001. They looked good, but she passed. Samgyeopsal 12,001 per portion. She used to grill it all the time, but cooking pork belly for one felt strange. There was salmon in a neat package. 15,001. She'd seen on TV that salmon was healthy, but she'd never actually tasted it. She stopped in front of the fish section. Mackerel, 2 for 5,001. The memory hit her. Unexpectedly, her husband's face when she used to grill it for him. He'd polish off a whole bowl of rice and say, "Nobody makes godunjeo like you." She could still hear his voice. Her hand moved toward the fish, then stopped. It wasn't on the list. Not today. Maybe next time. Walking through the mart like this, she remembered how different it used to be. Back then, shopping had been fun. Her husband would push the cart while she picked out the groceries. He always snuck extra things in: cookies, ice cream, a 6-pack of beer. She'd scold him, "That's expensive." He'd just laugh. "We've got to enjoy life a little." She used to find it annoying. Now she missed it. When she shopped alone, she only ever bought what she needed. No snacks, no fruit. Fruit spoiled too quickly for one person. Apples would shrivel, tangerines would mold, bananas would turn black. So she didn't bother. Once in a while, she'd buy a single banana at the mart. The kind they sold loose. That was enough. She passed the diaper aisle and paused. Baby diapers were stacked high on the shelves. She remembered when her daughter-in-law first got pregnant. Grandma Bunja had carried a huge pack of diapers all the way to Seoul herself. It was heavy, but she didn't care. She was so happy she could hardly stand it. Her first grandchild was on the way. Now those grandchildren didn't need diapers anymore. Her older grandson was taller than her. His voice had deepened. Her granddaughter was becoming more independent too. Time moved so fast. Near the meat section, she saw a young family choosing beef together. The father pushed the cart, the mother examined the cuts, and a little girl held her father's hand and looked around. They looked happy. Grandma Bunja watched them for a moment, then turned away. That used to be us, she thought. Her husband pushing the cart, her picking the groceries. Her young son begging for snacks. Back then, it was just ordinary life. She hadn't known it was precious. You never do, until it's gone. She headed for the checkout. Her basket felt light: only 3 things. She used to fill a whole cart. Now a small basket was more than enough. When the family shrinks, so does the grocery list. There were several checkout lanes open, but the lines were long. Evening rush. She picked the shortest one and stood at the end. 3 people ahead of her, all with full carts. She felt a little self-conscious, standing there with so little. Her legs began to ache. Standing too long always made her knees throb. She shifted her weight from one foot to the other, trying to ease the discomfort. The line moved slowly. One person finished, then another. She stepped forward each time. While she waited, her hand drifted to the wallet in her pocket. Still there. She'd counted the coins at home, so she knew she had enough. 5,501. She could use a 10,001 bill. But she preferred to spend her coins first. When they piled up, the wallet got heavy. She took out the wallet and unzipped the coin pouch. 4 501 coins and 16 101 coins. If she wanted to pay exactly 5,501 in coins and small bills, she'd need to work it out carefully. She tried to do the math ahead of time. She didn't want to fumble at the register. But counting coins had gotten harder. Her fingers didn't move the way they used to. The coins were small and slippery and kept slipping out of her grip. It hadn't always been like this. Lately, even small tasks felt clumsy, buttoning a shirt, threading a needle, using chopsticks. None of it came as easily as before. She put the wallet away. She'd figure it out when it was her turn. No rush. One person left ahead of her now. A young woman with a cart full of baby supplies, wipes, diapers, formula, baby food. Must be a new mother. Grandma Bunja thought about how exhausting those early days were. The woman finished paying and left. Finally, it was her turn. Grandma Bunja placed her basket on the counter. The cashier picked up each item and scanned it. Beep, beep, beep. 3 sounds, and the total appeared on the screen. 5,501. The cashier was young, early 20s, maybe. Short hair, a small earring. Her voice was flat, her expression blank. She glanced at the old woman once, then looked away. Grandma Bunja took out her wallet. She opened the coin pouch and began pulling out coins. 1,501 coin. 2, 3, 4. Then the 101 coins, but they wouldn't cooperate. Her fingers fumbled. The coins slipped. "Ma'am, there's a line behind you." She looked up. The cashier's face had tightened with impatience. Grandma Bunja nodded quickly. Yes, yes. She tried to move faster. 101, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, how many had she counted? She couldn't remember. Her mind went blank. She started again. "Ma'am, it might be faster if you just used a card." The cashier's voice was polite enough, but her eyes weren't. Grandma Bunja felt heat rise to her face. "I don't have a card. Just give me a moment." She tried harder, but the harder she tried, the worse it got. Her hands were trembling now. A coin slipped from between her fingers and landed on the counter with a small clink. "Oh no, I'm sorry." She reached for it. Another coin fell. This one rolled off the counter and dropped to the floor. It bounced once and disappeared somewhere under the register. She bent to retrieve it, but her back wouldn't cooperate. Her knees protested. After a painful effort, her hand touched the ground, but the coin was gone. Rolled too far to reach. "It's fine. Just leave it." The cashier's voice was cold now. Grandma Bunja straightened slowly, her face flushed. "I'm sorry," she said again. Behind her, someone sighed. A small sound, but loud enough for her to hear. She didn't turn around, but she felt their eyes. The weight of their stares pressed against her back. She tried to count what was left. The coins in her palm, the coins on the counter. The coins still in her wallet. It was all jumbled now. Her head was spinning. "How much more do you need?" The cashier's voice had an edge to it. Just a second. Let me count. You still owe 2,701. The cashier had done the math for her. Grandma Bunja's hands shook as she opened the bill compartment. 4,001 notes. She pulled out 3 and placed them on the counter. 301 change. The cashier handed it over. Grandma Bunja tried to put the coins away, but her hands wouldn't stop trembling. She was afraid she'd drop them again. Carefully, slowly, she slid them into the wallet. "Do you need the receipt?" "Yes, please." The cashier handed it over. Grandma Bunja reached for her groceries. A plastic bag sat open on the counter, but she couldn't get it to stay open properly. Her fingers fumbled at the edges. "Ma'am, I need to help the next customer." Yes, I know. I'm sorry." She shoved everything into the bag. Tofu, eggs, green onions. The eggs might crack if she wasn't careful, but she didn't have time to think. She grabbed the bag and stepped away from the register. As she moved aside, she accidentally met the eyes of the woman behind her. 30s, maybe. The woman looked at her, then turned away. No expression, no sympathy, just indifference. That somehow hurt more. Grandma Bunja walked quickly toward the exit, her head down. Her face was burning. Her heart was pounding. The shame sat heavy in her chest. Outside, the evening air hit her. She kept walking until she found a bench near the mart entrance. She sat down, her legs unsteady. Her hands still trembled. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. "It's fine. It's nothing. You just dropped some coins." She told herself that, but it didn't help. She kept replaying the cashier's expression. The sigh from behind. The cold silence of the people waiting. When did she become like this? She used to be quick. Confident. Counting money, bagging groceries, moving through the world. It had all been effortless. Now everything felt clumsy. Her hands were slower, her mind was slower, her body was slower. The world moved faster and faster, and she was falling behind. She looked down at her hands. Wrinkled, spotted with age. These same hands had worked her whole life. Cooking, cleaning, raising a child, taking care of a husband. She had never stopped. But now, these hands couldn't even count coins properly. So this is what it means to grow old, she thought. Becoming useless, bit by bit. Becoming invisible. Becoming a burden. Tears came. She hadn't meant to cry, but she couldn't stop. She lowered her head and wept quietly. She bit her lip so no sound would escape. Her shoulders shook. She didn't know how long she cried. When the tears finally slowed, she wiped her face with the back of her hand and looked up. Someone was standing in front of her. A middle-aged man. Black coat, neatly combed salt and pepper hair. He looked down at her. His expression was neutral, but his eyes were kind. "Are you all right?" A low, calm voice. Grandma Bunja quickly wiped her eyes, embarrassed. "Oh yes, I'm fine. Just the wind made my eyes water." The man said nothing. He sat down beside her on the bench. Silence stretched between them. She was very aware of him sitting there, but she didn't know what to say. He didn't seem to expect conversation either. He just sat, looking straight ahead. "I was inside just now." He spoke first. "At the register. I saw what happened." Grandma Bunja froze. He had seen her fumbling, dropping coins, holding up the line? The shame came flooding back. "I saw how that cashier treated you. Rude doesn't begin to describe it." She shook her head quickly. "Oh no, it was my fault. I was too slow. I made everyone wait." "And?" The man's voice sharpened. She looked at him. "What's wrong with being slow? You were paying for your groceries, like any other customer. Whether you use coins or cash or card, that's your choice. She had no right to speak to you that way." Grandma Bunja blinked. Why was this stranger defending her? "But I took a long time. The people behind me, they can wait. A few minutes of waiting isn't the end of the world. That's what it means to live in a society. Some days you're fast, some days you're slow. Everyone takes turns." He said it firmly, without hesitation. "And more than that," he paused. "That cashier followed you outside. I saw that too. I heard what she said to you." Grandma Bunja's heart sank. He had seen that, too. "She came out here, in this cold, and lectured you. Over what 101 that rolled under the register. That's not customer service. That's cruelty." She couldn't speak. The man reached into his coat and pulled something out. A business card. He looked at it for a moment, then put it back. "Ma'am, if you have a few minutes, would you mind coming inside with me? There's a customer service center. You can rest there, and I'd like to talk." She hesitated. She didn't know this man. Should she really follow him? But he didn't seem dangerous. His voice was steady, his manner polite. And he'd seen what happened. He was the only one who'd said anything. "May I ask who you are?" "My name is Park Jung-woo. I'm affiliated with this mart." Affiliated. That made her more nervous, not less. Was he going to take the cashier's side? Accuse her of making trouble? "Don't worry," he said, as if reading her thoughts. "I'm on your side. What that cashier did was wrong. It needs to be addressed. But I'll need your help to do that." She looked at him. His eyes were serious. Grandma Bunja hesitated. Following a stranger wasn't something she'd normally do. But there was something about this man, his calm voice, his direct way of speaking that made her feel like she could trust him. And besides, he worked for the mart. That meant he wasn't just some random person off the street. "All right," she said. Just for a moment. She picked up her bag and stood. He stood with her. Together, they walked back into the mart. The automatic doors slid open, and the warm air embraced her again. She glanced toward the checkout lanes, half expecting to see the cashier glaring at her. But the young woman wasn't there. A small relief. The man led her through the store, past the aisles of groceries, toward a door near the back marked Customer Service Center. He opened it and held it for her. "Please, come in." Inside, the room looked like a small office. A couple of desks, a sofa, a low table. Posters about store policies hung on the walls. A space heater hummed quietly in the corner, making the room warmer than the store outside. Have a seat. He gestured to the sofa. She sat down carefully, placing her shopping bag beside her. He took a chair across from her. Would you like something warm to drink? Coffee or tea? Oh, no, I'm fine. You don't have to. Please. It's cold out. You've had a hard time. Before she could protest further, he walked over to a small counter in the corner. An electric kettle sat there. He boiled water, dropped a green tea bag into a paper cup, and poured. Then he set the cup in front of her. Take your time. She wrapped both hands around the cup. It was warm. The heat seeped into her fingers, loosening something tight in her chest. She took a small sip. Thank you. He sat back down across from her and studied her for a moment. May I ask your name? Kim Bunja. And your age, if you don't mind? 72. He nodded slowly. Mrs. Kim, I saw what happened back there. From start to finish. I was in line behind you. She lowered her eyes. The embarrassment crept back. I saw you counting your coins. I saw the cashier rush you. I saw you drop them. And I saw that same cashier chase you outside and berate you in the cold. She shook her head. It was my fault. I was too slow. Mrs. Kim. His voice was firm. She looked up. You don't need to apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. Paying for groceries is a basic right. Whether you pay with coins or bills or card, it doesn't matter. That's the customer's choice, not the cashier's. She had no business rushing you. She opened her mouth to argue, then stopped. No one had ever said this to her before. No one had ever told her it was okay to be slow. Especially, he continued, customers of a certain age deserve extra patience. Older customers may move more slowly. That's not a flaw, it's just life. Everyone ages. That cashier will learn that herself, someday. Grandma Bunja felt a lump form in her throat. And what she did afterward, following you outside. Scolding you over a single 101 coin that rolled out of reach, that's inexcusable. 101. A coin. For that, she humiliated you in public. She couldn't speak. She hadn't expected anyone to see, let alone care. May I ask, she said quietly, what exactly do you do here? You said you're affiliated with the mart. He paused. Then, carefully, he answered. I work at the headquarters. For this chain. Headquarters. Her eyes widened. That meant he wasn't just an employee. He was someone important. I see. Now she felt even more uncomfortable. If he was from headquarters, would he get the cashier in serious trouble? As rude as the girl had been, Grandma Bunja didn't want her to lose her job. Excuse me, she said cautiously. But I don't want that girl to get fired or anything. She was rude, yes, but she's young. She was probably just stressed. I don't want to cause problems for her. He looked at her, surprised. After what she did to you, you're worried about her. I'm not saying what she did was right. But, she's someone's daughter, isn't she? I have a son myself. When he comes home stressed from work, I can see how hard it is. If that girl gets in trouble because of me, I'd feel terrible. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he let out a slow breath. You're very generous, Mrs. Kim. Most people in your position would be furious. They'd demand an apology, or a refund, or worse. But you're thinking about her. She looked down, embarrassed. It's nothing special. It is, though. That kind of compassion isn't common. He leaned forward slightly. I understand your concern, and I promise I won't get her fired. But she does need to be corrected. What she did was wrong, and if no one tells her, she'll do it again to someone else. A little education now will help her in the long run. Grandma Bunja considered this. It made sense, she supposed. Still, the thought of getting anyone in trouble made her uneasy. Will you go easy on her? I will. You have my word. She nodded slowly. Then okay. She took another sip of tea. The warmth spread through her. Outside, through the window of the small room, the store continued its bustling evening rhythm. Carts rolled by, announcements played over the speakers. Fluorescent lights buzzed. But in here, it was quiet. For the first time all evening, she felt like she could breathe. A short while later, the door opened. The cashier stepped inside. The moment she saw Grandma Bunja, her face went pale. Then she noticed the man sitting nearby, and she immediately bowed her head. You wanted to see me? Her voice was small, nothing like the sharp, impatient tone from earlier. Sit down. She hesitated, then took a seat in the chair opposite the sofa. Her hands folded tightly in her lap. Her eyes stayed fixed on the floor. What's your name? Choi Seo-yeon. How long have you been working here? 10 months. He nodded. Silence stretched for a moment. The girl glanced up nervously. Ms. Choi, do you remember what happened at your register earlier? Her face flushed. Yes. Tell me what you said. She bit her lip. Didn't answer. You don't remember? His voice sharpened. She flinched. I told her to hurry up, she said quietly. I said there was a line behind her. And? I told her to use a card. And after that? She was silent. You followed her outside. What did you say then? Her shoulders hunched. When she spoke again, her voice was barely audible. I told her she was 101 short. I told her to have her coins ready next time. I said, she should use the self-checkout so she doesn't bother other customers. He let the silence hang. Do you think that's an appropriate way to speak to a customer? She didn't respond. Look at me. She raised her head. Her eyes were rimmed with red. That woman, he said, nodding toward Grandma Bunja, came to this store to buy groceries. She paid with the money she had. She didn't do anything wrong. But you rushed her. You embarrassed her. And then you followed her outside into the cold and lectured her. Over 1 coin. 101. Tears spilled down the girl's cheeks. Mrs. Kim, the man said, glancing at the grandmother, is 72 years old. She's been counting coins and paying for groceries her entire life. But today, her hands were a little slower. Does that make her a burden? Does that give you the right to humiliate her? The cashier was crying openly now, her shoulders shaking. Grandma Bunja couldn't take it anymore. That's enough. Both of them turned to look at her. She's learned her lesson. Look at her, she's crying. You don't have to keep going. Mrs. Kim, please. Her voice was firm. She's young. She made a mistake. But she understands now. That's enough. She got up from the sofa and walked over to the girl. Gently, she placed a hand on her shoulder. It's okay. Don't cry. I'm not angry. The cashier sobbed harder. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I know you are. She rubbed the girl's back, the way she might comfort a grandchild. You've been working hard, haven't you? Standing on your feet all day. Dealing with customers, trying to meet quotas. It's not easy. I understand. The girl looked up, tears streaming. How can you be so kind to me? After what I did? Because I have a son your age. I know how hard it is to be young. The world doesn't make it easy. She took a tissue from the table and handed it to her. Just remember, everyone you meet is carrying something. The next time you see an old woman counting coins, think about your own grandmother. Think about how you'd want someone to treat her. The cashier nodded, wiping her face. I will. I promise. The man watched the two of them in silence. The tension in the room had shifted. What had been heavy and sharp was now something softer, fragile, but gentler. The cashier, Seo-yeon, was still wiping her eyes. Grandma Bunja sat beside her now, her hand resting lightly on the girl's arm. Park Jung-woo remained in his seat, watching. Ms. Choi. The girl looked up. I'm not going to punish you. Mrs. Kim asked me not to. But I want you to remember something. She nodded. Someday, you'll be old too. Your hands will shake. Your legs will ache. Things that used to be easy will become hard. And when that day comes, you'll want people to be patient with you. Yes, sir. So start now. Whenever you see an older customer struggling, remind yourself, this could be me, one day. This could be my mother. If you keep that in mind, kindness will come naturally. I understand. He leaned back, his expression softening. All right, you can go back to work. Seo-yeon stood. She bowed deeply to the man, then turned to Grandma Bunja. Thank you, she said. For forgiving me. I didn't deserve it. You did. Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is learning from them. The girl bowed again, lower this time. Then she left, closing the door quietly behind her. Grandma Bunja let out a long breath. You didn't have to let her off so easily, the man said. I didn't do it for her. I did it for me. Holding on to anger is exhausting. I'd rather let it go. He smiled just slightly. You're a wise woman, Mrs. Kim. She shook her head. I'm just old. Old people don't have energy to waste on grudges. He laughed softly. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. It's getting late, he said. You should head home. Can I call you a taxi? No, the bus is fine. The stop is close. Are you sure? It's dark out. I've been riding that bus for 20 years. I'll be fine. He didn't push. He stood and opened the door for her. As they walked back through the store, Seoyeon appeared again. She must have been waiting. Ma'am, let me walk you out. Please. Grandma Bunja smiled. You don't have to. I want to. It's the least I can do. The two of them walked side by side toward the exit. The evening rush had thinned out. The lights seemed softer somehow. At the automatic doors, Seoyeon stopped. Please come back again. Next time, I'll treat you properly. I promise. I'll hold you to that. They shared a small smile. The doors slid open, and Grandma Bunja stepped out into the cold night air. Behind her, Seoyeon bowed. The bus arrived right on time. Grandma Bunja climbed aboard and tapped her card. The familiar beep, the familiar, free, on the screen. She took a seat by the window and looked out. Seoyeon was still standing at the bus stop, waving. Grandma Bunja raised her hand in return. As the bus pulled away, the girl's figure grew smaller until it disappeared. She leaned back in her seat. What a strange day it had been. Humiliated at a checkout counter, reduced to tears outside a grocery store. Comforted by a stranger, and now riding home with something like peace in her chest. Life had a strange rhythm sometimes. She thought about the man, Park Jung-woo. He'd been kind. More than kind, he'd been righteous, in a quiet way. He hadn't shouted or threatened. He'd simply made things right. People like that were rare. She still didn't know exactly what his job was. Headquarters, he'd said. That could mean anything. But from the way the cashier had trembled in front of him, she suspected he was someone important. The city lights slid past the window. Street lamps, storefronts, apartment buildings with lit windows. Everyone going about their lives. She wondered how many of them had had hard days, too. How many had cried alone, then wiped their faces and kept going. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out, the old flip phone her son always teased her about. Hello? Mom. It's me. Oh, hi. What's up? Nothing, just checking in. What are you doing? Riding the bus. Went to the mart. This late? You okay? I'm fine. Just took longer than I expected. Did you eat? Not yet. I'll eat when I get home. Mom, come on. You've got to eat regular meals. I will. There was a pause. Then, hey, Mom, I was thinking, what if I came down next weekend? Brought the kids? She sat up straighter. Really? You'd come? Yeah, it's been a while. I miss you. And the kids keep asking about you. Her throat tightened. That would be wonderful. I'll make all your favorites. You don't have to go overboard. Don't be silly. I want to. Just come. All right. We'll drive down Saturday morning. Be careful on the road. I will. Love you, Mom. Love you too. She hung up and held the phone against her chest. Her son was coming. Her grandchildren were coming. The house that had been so quiet would be full of noise again. A warmth spread through her that had nothing to do with the heater on the bus. The next morning, she woke up early. But this time, her body didn't feel heavy. She made her nurungji, washed her face, and tidied up the apartment, something she hadn't done with this much energy in weeks. Around 10 o'clock, the doorbell rang. She wasn't expecting anyone. No packages, no visitors. She checked the intercom screen. Park Jung-woo. She blinked. How did he? Then she remembered. Yesterday, at the service center, she'd filled out a form. Name, phone number, address. A customer complaint form, they'd said. She pressed the button. Hello? Mrs. Kim, it's Park Jung-woo. From yesterday. May I come up? She hesitated, then buzzed him in. A few minutes later, he stood at her door. Same neat coat, same composed expression. In his hands, he held a folder. I apologize for coming unannounced. It's fine. Come in. He removed his shoes and stepped inside. She led him to the small living room. He glanced around, not judging, just observing. The modest furniture, the old clock on the wall. The photos of her son and grandchildren on the shelf. Please, sit. He took a seat on the sofa. She sat across from him. I came to follow up on what happened yesterday, he said. And to give you something. He opened the folder and pulled out a card, a plastic card, like a membership card, and a small booklet. What's this? It's part of a new program we're launching. A senior customer assistance program. Discounts, priority checkout lanes, shopping assistance. Things like that. She looked at the card, then at him. Why are you giving this to me? He paused. Honestly? Because of you. She didn't understand. Yesterday, when I saw what happened to you, I couldn't stop thinking about my own mother. Her eyes widened. She's 74, lives alone in the countryside. She told me once that she hates going to the grocery store now. Her hands shake, her knees hurt, and she feels like she's always in the way. She said she's scared of slowing people down. His voice wavered, just slightly. When I saw you at that register counting coins, being rushed, being humiliated, I thought of her. I wondered if anyone had ever treated her that way. And I felt sick. Grandma Bunge's eyes stung, so I pushed this program forward. It was already in the works, but I made it a priority. Because of you. Because of women like you and my mother, who deserve to shop with dignity. She looked at the card again. Her vision blurred. Thank you, she whispered. You didn't have to do all this. I did, though. It was the right thing to do. He stood. I won't take up more of your time. If you ever have issues at the store, just show them this card. They'll take care of you. She walked him to the door. Mr. Park. He turned. Your mother is lucky to have you. He smiled soft, a little sad. I'm the lucky one. The door closed behind him. She stood there for a long moment, holding the card. Saturday came faster than expected. The apartment had never been so clean. She'd scrubbed the floors, washed the windows, and reorganized the closet. The fridge was stocked. She'd made 3 trips to the mart with her new card. Each time, the staff had been polite. Attentive, even. It felt strange, being treated so well. The doorbell rang at noon. Before she could reach the door, it burst open, and her grandchildren came tumbling in. Grandma. She laughed and knelt to catch them. The boy, taller than her now, voice cracking, gave her an awkward hug. The girl flung herself into her arms and squeezed tight. I missed you so much. I missed you too, sweetheart. Her son appeared next, carrying bags. He looked tired but happy. Her daughter-in-law followed, smiling politely. Mom, you look good. So do you. Come in, come in. They gathered around the table, and she brought out dish after dish. Japchae, bulgogi, tteokbokki, steamed eggs, kimchi. The table was full, the way it used to be. The children dug in. Her son shook his head in disbelief. Mom, this is too much. It's not enough. Eat. The room filled with chatter. Her grandson talked about video games she didn't understand. Her granddaughter told stories about her friends. Her son complained about work. Her daughter-in-law laughed at something the kids said. Grandma Bunge didn't say much. She just watched them, listened to them, let the noise wash over her like warm water. This is what I live for, she thought. After the meal, the kids sprawled on the living room floor, watching TV. Her daughter-in-law insisted on washing the dishes. Her son sat beside her on the sofa. Mom, are you really okay? Living alone like this? I'm fine. You're not lonely? She thought about it. Sometimes. But I'm used to it. He looked down. I wish I could visit more often. You have your own life. I understand. That doesn't make it okay. She patted his hand. It is okay. Seeing you now, that's more than enough. The afternoon passed too quickly. Before she knew it, they were putting on their shoes, gathering their bags. We'll come again soon, her son said. I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep, she teased. I mean it. He hugged her, really hugged her, and for a moment. He wasn't a 50-year-old man with gray in his hair. He was her little boy again. They left. The apartment fell silent. She stood by the window and watched their car pull out of the parking lot. Her granddaughter's face appeared in the back window, waving. She waved back until the car turned the corner and disappeared. Quiet again. She turned and looked at the empty table. The leftover dishes, the cushions still dented where the kids had sat. Lonely? Yes. But also full. Chapter 10. A week passed. Life returned to its familiar rhythm. Mornings with Nurangji. Walks around the neighborhood. Afternoons at the senior center. Evenings with the TV off, just sitting in the quiet. One afternoon, she went to the mart again. The staff greeted her warmly now. One of the younger employees recognized her and smiled. She showed her card at the register and paid without any trouble. No rushing, no sighing, no coins rolling across the floor. As she walked out, she saw a familiar figure. Sitting on the bench near the entrance. Park Jung-woo. He looked up as she approached. Mrs. Kim, I was hoping I'd see you. You're here again? Monthly inspection, he said. I like to walk around, see how things are going. She sat down beside him. The sun was out. The wind was cold, but not biting. How are you? He asked. Good, really good. Family came to visit? They did. Last weekend. It was wonderful. He smiled. I'm glad. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. I went to see my mother, he said. Last week. You did? Drove down for the weekend. Spent 2 days with her. We cooked together, walked around the village, talked about old times. How was she? Happy. She cried when I showed up. Said she didn't expect me. Grandma Bunja smiled. You made her day. I think so. He paused. I'm going to visit her every other week from now on. I decided. That's good. That's really good. He turned to look at her. I want to thank you. Me? For what? For waking me up. I was so caught up in work meetings, reports, targets. I forgot what really matters. Seeing you that day, it reminded me. She shook her head. I didn't do anything special. You did, though. You showed me something. The way you forgave that cashier. The way you thought of others even when you were hurting. That takes strength. Her eyes grew warm. We all have our own struggles, she said. What matters is how we treat each other along the way. He nodded slowly. A bus pulled up to the stop. Her bus. That's me, she said, rising. He stood too. Take care of yourself, Mrs. Kim. You too. And don't forget to call your mother. I won't. She walked toward the bus, then stopped and turned back. Mr. Park. Yes? A person's worth shows in how they speak to others. And yours shows kindness. He smiled, gentle, sincere. She boarded the bus and found a seat by the window. As it pulled away, she saw him still standing there, watching. She raised her hand. He raised his. The bus rolled on. She looked out at the evening sky. Soft oranges and reds painted the clouds. The sun was going down and the world was growing quiet. She thought about the past few weeks. The shame at the register. The tears on the bench. The stranger who became a friend. The family that came to fill her home, if only for a day. Life was strange. Painful, sometimes. Lonely, often. But also full of unexpected grace. She leaned her head against the window. A person's worth shows in how they speak. And how they listen. And how they forgive. She closed her eyes. Tomorrow, she would wake up, make her nurangji, and begin again. That was enough. If today's story brought you a bit of comfort, please consider subscribing, liking the video, and turning on notifications, so I can continue sharing heartfelt stories by your side. Wishing you days filled with nothing but happiness. Leave a greeting in the comments. And I'll wish for all good fortune to come your way.